Good afternoon and welcome to my Senior to C-Suite weekly series. So if you're joining me live today, you want to drop hi in the comments, let me know you're joining. Thank you so much for joining me today. And every week, most weeks at least, I come along here and I share some insights and ideas on how you can increase your performance, potential and results and that of your team. And I do this by sharing my approach to supporting individuals and teams to connect individual potential with business growth. So this weekly series is really for anybody who is at a stage where you want to progress to senior leadership. And it may be where maybe you're a manager, senior manager, or you're higher up, you're a director, senior director. What I'm sharing with you here is applicable for anybody who's moving up in that direction. Because what I do is I coach individuals at right up to C-suite in the organization. And all of those individuals, what I find with the work I do with them, there are always some key areas that really need core development and support. And a lot of the insights that I'm bringing you here on a weekly basis are absolutely around all of those topics. So this week, I am shining the spotlight on how to stand out and be seen. And this is about sharing your value intentionally. And this is where many struggle with. Many individuals are highly competent, they have a proven track record, but they're not able to articulate their value in a way that gets them seen and helps them to stand out for the right opportunities that would support them to grow and develop in the place where they know they want to bring more value. And this can see people getting left behind while the business grows and also when the market changes. So really important to help you to understand that. And today I want to share with you 3 things that you need to do to avoid this trap, which I would like to share with you. So there's 3 things that I want to share with you on that today. So being seen and standing out is extremely important because otherwise we will be invisible. We won't be able to share our value. And for us, I suppose what that means is that we don't feel accomplished. We don't feel fulfilled in our role and what we're doing, but also the business is missing out, right? So the business is not getting the best value from you. And what I do all the time is I help people to match that up. So even when I'm working within organizations, I'm helping them to really find that hidden potential in individuals and connect it to what the business needs. So there's a really good match. And when we do that, what happens is we have individuals who are feeling fulfilled and accomplishment and they're driven, they've got a goal, and also the business is benefiting from that value that's now bringing into the business. So my name is Anne Caulfield. I'm an accredited executive and leadership coach, working with individuals and teams within organizations and independent of organizations to progress and succeed in their careers and leadership so that they can build more influence and impact and progress from being technically competent to being strategic leaders of their career within their organizations. So as I've said many times before, there is a different mindset and approach required as you progress in your career and leadership. And unfortunately, many underestimate this step. With that being said, what I want to share with you here is how you can actually do this, how you can actually just figure out, okay, well, what do I actually need to do next? How can I make sure I don't get caught in this particular trap? So there are 3 things you need to do to avoid this trap of being invisible and therefore missing the growth opportunities in your career leadership. So the first one I want to share with you today is to know your value, understanding your value. And a lot of the time when I ask people to share with me their value, and just tell me, where their value is, they certainly make an attempt to do that, but they're really only scratching at the surface. And what's really important to be able to do here is to be able to understand your career story. Because when you understand your career story to the right level, it really helps you to be able to pull from, all of that you've achieved, the confidence you've achieved from that, how you've grown and learned about everything that you've brought to where you are today, what you've learned about yourself. What are the key themes that are emerging out of what has brought you to where you are today? So there's a huge amount in that. And understanding that is crucial if you really want to be able to understand what is it about my unique value that's really important for me to take to the next stage of my career, but is also connected to the business needs. right? And when I ask people this question, as I said, people only scratch at the surface. People will hand me their CV, they will share their LinkedIn. And I'm like, that doesn't really tell me that much. That tells me where you've worked and what you did in those roles, but it doesn't tell me about your value. It doesn't tell me about your unique value, your career story. And that is the big difference. So this is a big body of work that I actually do with individuals and teams to really help them go down several layers. And when we go down those several layers, the clarity is just super and fantastic. It really, really helps people to understand, okay, now I get it. Now I know where I actually can bring the most value. Because it's not about, blending in with everybody around you. You need to stand out. You need to find, well, what is the unique value that I have to offer, where I know I want to grow and develop. And also, there actually is a need for this. There is a need for this. So really, really important to do that and understand then, what you want to be known for, what you stand for, and really crafting your path forward from there. So the first thing to do to avoid the trap of getting left behind during a time of business growth and during a time of market changes and progressing in your career is to understand your unique value and through your career story. So that's the first thing. The second area that is really, really important is connecting this value with an unfulfilled need in your business or in the marketplace. So we now want to take the value that you've understood, like that career story, the compelling, unique value that you have to offer. And we want to be able to articulate that in person and in print. Okay? And we want to be able to understand, how do we actually translate this into actions, right? So it's not enough just to speak about it. It's important that we demonstrate that expertise through taking action. Where can I take action? Does it actually go into language to demonstrate that that value that will fill that unfulfilled need? And the third thing you want to do is you want to be able to lead through uncertainty and be the guiding light. And this is where you're going to be able to bring that positive influence and impact. So that second point I'm sharing with you is connecting your value with an unfulfilled need by articulating your value, demonstrating that value where you can, and also leading the way through uncertainty. So you are helping to bridge. So you're here, you're looking at an unfulfilled need, and you're going in that direction. You're not waiting to be asked. You're actually going to go there and you're going to see, how can I actually bridge that gap? And again, there are lots of different ways to do that. There's ways to approach that. There's, we don't want to be taking on loads more work and trying to do this. There are ways and structures and elements of doing this, which I support people to move in that direction in a way that's intentional, which is really, really important. But just to share with you today, that is a crucial part. The third part then is to stay relevant. So what I mean by this is to be intentional about how you use your time, leading off from the last point, right? Sometimes, when I talk about connecting your values and fulfill need, people go off and they get really, really busy, and guess what happens? They become completely invisible because they're buried in a load of work now. That's not the way to approach it. And that's why when I mentioned earlier on, there's ways of going about connecting your value to an unfulfilled need. And there's ways not to do it, right? But unfortunately, we default to taking on lots more work. But the third piece is around staying relevant. And what I mean by that is, again, it is about being intentional about how you use your time and building your value connection to evolving business needs, right? So build, your value connection to those evolving business needs and being part of the right conversations, not every conversation. Extremely important to do that. And understanding, is being part of this conversation going to allow me to offer the value to bring me closer to what I want to be able to offer now and in the future? Or is it bringing me further away from that? Being really, really intentional, staying very relevant in the conversations you're having and where you're offering value. And also you can do that by staying ahead of the market trends and to be the leader communicating and interpreting these insights. Okay, so it's really, really important to be able to understand how you can do that and how you can continue to lead the way. So to summarize there, it's about understanding your unique value, connecting it with the business need, and staying relevant is really, really important. So to conclude on those 3 points, you need to be able to extract the compelling value you have to offer. And only then will you be able to truly connect it with the business needs and to bring that positive influence and impact that will translate to business results and personal satisfaction and accomplishment. And this is the work I do all of the time with individuals, all the time with teams within organizations, to really create that synergy of talent right across the business. So if this is an area you know that is holding you back, and it may already have maybe prevented you from progressing to new exciting opportunities, or you feel that you've got to a point where you fear being left behind, and you need to be able to articulate your value at the next level, drop me a message or book a complimentary call at the link in the comments, and let's discuss a plan to future-proof your career value and progression. Because sometimes it's the small tweaks make the big leaps, right? That's what I always say. It's the small tweaks make the giant leaps. So really understanding that, I'll be very happy to share that with you. But also, if you have a team that you're currently navigating growth within the business, and really supporting them to connect their value to the needs of the business is crucial to maintain an engaged, collaborative and productive team. Because if we lose that, people lose connection, they lose interest, they get lost in the sea of change. And that is obviously not where you want to go. So if that's you, if you're a team leader, or you're managing a team, or connected with HR and you want to be able to support the organization to lead a team, I invite you also to book a complimentary call with me in the link in comments to discuss what your team needs right now. Okay, so that we can identify the top priority for you to build engagement, productivity, and results. Because it is about a step-by-step tweaking the process to make it work for you and your business. I do have an Amplify Team Talent program that I run within organizations, which I can also share with you. And this is a program that I tailor to the specific needs of the business, depending on where you're at right now. So if you'd like to know more about that, of course, drop me a message or book me a call at the link in comments. I'm delighted to chat with you about that as well. So I hope what I've shared with you today has provided you some thoughts and ideas, areas you can think about, thought-provoking ideas, where you probably start to need focusing on your time, or maybe the time you want your team to start focusing on. Really thinking about that growth, the growth of the individual, the growth of the business. They have to be in sync, because if one is lagging behind the other, then you're going to lose somebody along the way, right? You're either going to lose the individual, or what's going to happen is the business is not going to be able to grow at the level it wants to grow at, or maybe it will continue growing and then everything starts falling apart at the seams. We don't want that to happen, right? So, really, really interested to hear actually your experiences. I'd love to hear what's happening for you in this space. If this resonates with you right now, please drop me a message or drop it in the comments. I'd love to hear what's happening for you right now. So thank you so much for joining me today. And thank you for your messages that you sent through to me after these particular LinkedIn Lives, and sharing topics or ideas. I've gone through a lot of those, and I'm absolutely working on sharing value on those topics over the next weeks to come. So I will see you back here again next week to continue this conversation on another related topic to support you and your teams to elevate potential, performance, and results. So have a wonderful week, and we'll chat to you all very soon.